Montessori really felt strongly that children have a sense of personal dignity. And she came to this realization that even very young children have this profound sense. At one point, she decided to give children a lesson on how to blow one's nose. This is a story that her biographer, E.M. Standing, relates to us. She showed them how to do it as politely as possible, with as little noise as possible, and in a manner that would remain more or less unnoticed. Well, as the story goes, the children watched her demonstrate, and they were very silent and polite. And they watched with much interest, and when the lesson was finished, they broke into what Montessori later described as a genuine and heartfelt applause. Sort of an unusual response. She was amazed at this response, but upon reflection, she perceived the significance of this affectionate round of applause. Montessori said that adults tend to scold children rather than show them how. We adults often neglect to acknowledge and respect the child's dignity, and when we neglect this, Montessori wrote, the children's souls may remain wounded and oppressed in a way adults seldom realize. So respect for the personal dignity of the child became a prominent element of the training of her teachers. She spoke pointedly and often about the spiritual preparation and the need for the spiritual preparation of the teacher. And developing a deep respect for the child is part of this spiritual preparation. It often means we have to undo some wrong habits that we have in our interactions with children and our attitudes towards children. It really strikes me of how amazing and revolutionary this must have been in the early 19th century, this attitude of respect for the child, and how uncommon it may have been at that point.
Yeah, you think about children should be seen but not heard. There wasn't a lot of respect for the processes of childhood being different from the processes of adulthood. And I think this photograph that we put up for you for personal dignity is an interesting thing, because this little boy is using a sharp knife to cut this orange. It's serrated. You see it's rounded at the tip. There's a teacher right behind him that brought the knife out, and will take it back as soon as he's done. But we respect the fact that he has learned a great deal of coordination of movement by the time he's ready for this lesson, and he's very intent on doing it himself. And this is part of the dignity, the respect for children, to let them do what they really can do in the context of creating safety for them.
You know, and the respect also comes when we don't let a child rush into something they're not ready for.
That's right.
A child just can't go up to the shelf because he saw his friend do orange juice squeezing and say, I'm going to do that now. There's a certain preparation, and that's part of how we relate to the children, is preparing them so they'll be successful when they do these things.
Well, you know, and that's part of the reason why the materials are laid out on the shelf in a sequence from simple to more complex. And a child can simply understand. He comes and tells you, I want to do this. And you say, oh, of course you can do this. But first you have to do this, this, and this, the lessons that are in front of this. And most children will understand.
Yeah. And that's part of the initiation, really, of life, isn't it? Sort of the hard knocks, you have to go through your steps and
earn your stripes, so to speak.
That's right. And so when he got to that point, this little Joshua, I remember Joshua, it was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And when it's a big deal like that, that's when a lot of times they'll do it again and again and again and have this incredible concentration.
And then there's dishes to wash afterwards. It's a very big lesson.